like, oh, think about your career path. I was like, man, like, I don't even think about this weekend yet. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Comedy Happy Hour.
Yeah.
Travis and Dylan. Travis, it's Dylan. This is a podcast that takes place in Don's Depot in Austin, Texas. We like to sit down with comedians because they also like to drink and have some drinks and shots and talk about their careers. This week we have Jesse Hensley.
hello.
Coming on the show. We had him on our South by Southwest comedy showcase, and we finally were able to get you. Thank you for coming, man.
Oh, absolutely a pleasure to be the last of the bunch. To make it. No,
You're not the absolute last. It's just like, well, to be honest, I wanted to have you on earlier, but then I saw you had some kind of surgery.
Yeah, I had to do some stuff. I had some teeth stuff come up that I
Yeah.
had to have like an oral surgery type thing for.
Yeah.
And I still got some stuff to deal with, but my face was swole up, and I had to go to like the ER because my throat started swelling up one night from it.
Yeah.
It was just a whole big ordeal that, like, I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I'm better. I feel better now. So
Yeah.
thanks for having me here to drink and tear that tooth back down.
That's right. We like to start the show with we kind of have a bookend of sorts, but we like to start the show with a question that the last comedian asked.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you who the comedian is. They don't know who was going to be on the show either.
Okay.
The question is, how much of yourself do you think you show people on stage?
Like, I would say probably 85, 90%. I try to be as authentic and real as possible. I even talk about, like, most of the stories that I do on stage are based in heavy reality. Like, it's pretty much the way it happened.
Yeah.
But, like, once it gets out, if you would hear it the first time, you'd hear more closely to the true version than what it has become as I've worked on it to be a joke.
Mm-hmm. It's natural, I guess, yeah.
Right, but like it's just I'm pretty honest on stage for the most part, and there's probably 10% that's added in, maybe 20% that's just for comedic effect, to enhance it for whatever way.
Yeah,
but,
sure, a little punch here,
yeah. But I think the character that I play on stage, like, I say it's a character. It's definitely not 100% my true self, but it's definitely you with comedic armor thrown over you.
Yeah, I was going to ask. It's more like armor, like
Yeah, you're turned on. Like
Yeah.
your comedy mode is turned on, so it's not really how you would be if you were by yourself, like just chilling.
right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. You're not. Yeah, it's not you.
Even you
a
with
microphone.
your significant other or your family or whoever, it might not be that exact same, because it's kind of annoying when you see comics that are just always
on.
always on. You're just like, I mean, it's not that fun. It's exhausting. So I have to remember that whenever I'm
Trying to
really
get off
talky, I'll have to just shut it.
When did you create the character then?
It kind of just created itself over time. It kind of evolved into it. I just remember trying to be. My whole goal the whole time was just trying to be the funniest person. Like, I would just do that like that every show I went to. Like, I would, even if it was an open mic, just be like, all right, try to be one of the. At first, it was like top 10 funniest people here, because it was that I was not very good when I started out. But like, yeah, eventually, like, you just up your goals, and now it's just finally gets to where you're just like just crush a room. And over time, I just did whatever it took to get to that. And eventually, it was just telling stories. Is what I found out. It was like tell true stuff. So even like the 100th time I tell it, it's still my story. I still want to tell it the best I can. It's not just like this crappy joke that I can like distance myself from.
Yeah.
So I when I learned how to do that, that's why I say like I like to keep it on, just because it really works better. I feel like, for me at least, it just kind of went hand in hand with the transition of learning how to be funny.
And people really smell sincerity. Yeah.
Well, I feel like people, it's definitely endearing. I feel like people now, I've kind of almost tailored jokes now to where I want it. Ever since I had a joke where I had people start coming up to me afterwards and wanting to talk about the joke more so than telling me I was funny just to meet me.
Yeah.
They would want to talk about it specifically. That's what I was like, that's kind of annoying a little bit, but that's a good problem to have. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
And I want that problem. So, like, I want to tailor every joke I have. I run it through an extra thing in the litmus test, which is like, is this one of those jokes where it's like, this is something people really want to hear,
right?
Or it's something people, didn't mind hearing, and some of them might have enjoyed it.
Or like a dinner party icebreaker of sorts, yeah.
And I wouldn't throw it away if it didn't have that quality, but you definitely, I feel like, want to have those kind of jokes where, every joke you want to be, really, really good, and something people like just revert, or whatever the word is, really reverberates with people.
Yep.
Yeah. No, I don't think that's. Did I use that right?
Yeah, it's a word now. We
Resonate.
Yeah,
Resonate. Okay. Has that reverberate?
Resonate's another. It's they're both okay.
Right.
It's like saying literally when you mean figuratively. It's a whole thing.
I use
that's
words
legal,
wrong
yeah.
a lot.
Sure.
That's the way I like to describe it.
So when people ask you like, "Hey, how come that's funny joke?" or when they do comment, what are they asking for? Are they asking like more of the story, like what really happened that day, or are they saying, "How would you think of that to be funny?" Or
A lot of times they want to know if it's true.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
like the first thing they want to know. Just say, is that real? Was that real?
Yeah,
And I'll just
yeah.
be like, yeah. I'll just say, yeah. You don't want to tell them like, well, 85, 90% of it's true.
Right.
You know what I mean? And just explain like I did you all for like 3 minutes where nobody's going to listen and stop listening. But yeah, it's you just tell them, yeah, because it is mostly true. Like all the big parts of it are true. The little parts that aren't true are just little asides that I make.
Enhance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us where you're from, where you grew up.
Originally, I'm from East Texas. I lived there most of my life. I went to school at New Diana High School in Diana, Texas, from kindergarten through graduation of my high school year. Yeah.
Where's Diana?
Diana is like by Longview, kind of an hour from Tyler.
Okay.
It's an hour from Louisiana, like the state line on I-20.
Okay.
it's way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's up in the sticks. I thought it wasn't bad though. Like I thought Diana was a little town and Longview was a big city for a long time. For a long time.
For a long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find yourself wanting to do comedy back then? Do you find yourself to be a funny person?
Oh, I always felt like I was funny, and I felt like that was always an asset. But I never really saw it as an asset that I could use to like, or especially not a career set. Like I didn't think it would really help me in anything other than a job interview, or maybe being likable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I didn't think it was going to help me make money one day, and it still really hasn't. But
No, sure.
it's not bad. Like I love it's the thing is I didn't never think that stand-up comedy was like a job for me. Like it was a job. I never looked at it as a job. I looked at it as like I looked at kind of like Hollywood actors. I just be like they were in the right place at the right time, and somebody was like, "Hey, you can come do this."
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a job so much as it was a privilege.
Right.
And I didn't know you just had to start going to open mics and like
And just
start the
hitting it, yeah.
process.
When was your
And,
first open mic?
It was like 4 years ago, probably.
Okay.
Right around then.
Was that here?
Yeah, it was at Cold Town.
Cold Town?
actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what brought you to Austin then?
I came down to San Marcos just trying to like reset it. It was kind of almost like a last ditch effort to like keep do good. Like I was lost for my early 20s and mid 20s. I just didn't. After I dropped out of college and just started working, and I worked for Chase Bank for a couple of years, and then like when I was 23 or so, I realized I was like, I'm not going to retire from Chase Bank. Like I know that's not happening. I'm not going to go down this road that everybody's like, oh, think about your career path. I was like, man. Like, I don't even think about this weekend yet. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to me that, like, I'm doing this. And, like, the more I knew the more further I went, the better I did. Like, I was going to get to it was going to be tough to want to do anything else or to get out of that as easily than I could at a low position. So I got out of it, like, at 23. And from 23 to 25, 6 in there, it was just rough years, man, just taking loss after loss. And then I moved down to San Marcos. My brother was going to college there at Texas State.
Yep.
And I crashed on his couch because I was going to become a writer. I just decided I was going to become a writer in San Marcos, and that was going to work. It was all going to fix itself. And I moved down there for like 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into a couple months. And eventually, like I noticed they had an open mic down there at Taxis or something. And I was like, I'm going to go to that. And I went to it, and I didn't sign up for the list. I just sat in the back and watched it. And I was like, well, fuck, I can do this. Like, this is way better.
Yeah.
This is terrible. Like, and it was terrible, but like, it's always terrible there. Like, there's no crowd. There's a lot of reasons why it was terrible. It wasn't the comics necessarily. I know that now. I didn't know it then. Luckily for me, though. So, like, I signed up for one in Austin because I was like, I'm going to go to Austin and do it. And I drove up to Austin and Cold Town and did it. And it sucked. But I didn't know it sucked yet. You know what I mean?
Was that like the courage from like, well, I want to go back to San Marcos so I can go fail somewhere else? It doesn't count.
In hindsight, that sounds exactly like what it was. It probably was that. I didn't see it as that. I don't know what I saw it as, but I was just like, I'm going to go do it at a better place. Because I like Google searched or something and just like try to research what the best stuff here was, the open mics. And I wanted to do either the Cap City open mic, and I think I was just probably chicken to do that. Yep. Which I'm glad, thank God I was chicken to do that thing. But I did, yeah. Like it's funny looking back at your early stand-up days because like you have the game so like ill-conceived that it's so embarrassing to see how you operated and thought to think about it. Yeah, but it didn't. It took me a couple of years. I did it for like a year there in San Marcos, or like a half a year, and then I decided to move once I saved up enough money to Austin on the 1st of January. So it's been almost like 4.5 then, and I moved here and just started hitting open mics, and then it all.
What do you think was your first successful joke?
Well,
actually, let's start with what was your first joke that you wrote?
I don't remember the first joke I wrote at all.
Okay.
I'm glad. I blocked it out, I think.
I mean, that speaks, it speaks volumes too. I mean.
Yeah, man. Like, I really blocked out a lot of the early stuff. I could think of them, but I wouldn't tell you.
Okay.
Especially not recorded.
Safe space, man. Safe space.
Yeah, I could lie and say something. Yeah, no, I remember the first joke I actually had that I do remember this moon bit I had pretty early on when it started going right. When I first moved to Austin, like I don't talk about anything from St. Mark's because that was all pretty bad.
Yeah.
But when I was learning just how to be on stage and get comfortable, not shake while you're on stage because it's like I was nervous, I would shake for a lot. Yep. Even if I felt confident, my body would still shake, and I had to learn how to get over that, which was just go up a bunch of times till your body decides it doesn't want to do that anymore. You don't really get to decide. But yeah, I remember a joke that I would have where I'd try to. It was just me trying to convince the crowd that the moon wasn't real. And I still like that joke. But it's not a real joke. It's not a joke at all. It's just me trying to convince the crowd that the moon's not real. And it doesn't work because of that. Because everybody knows that the moon's probably real.
Yeah.
But I tried so hard with that bit for like a month or two. And I think that taught me a lot about how to stay with a joke and build it over time. Cool. As opposed to like, see, I like to do that. I don't like to. When I try out new premises and stuff, I'm looking for one to work on, like for a month or two, like long term. I'm not looking for I don't like to do jokes and come up with a new 5 every week. I feel like that's pretty unrealistic for me. Yeah. I don't. I just really like to. If I can't find anything that I'm really passionate about talking about, I'll do whatever I am passionate about, which is one of my. So I'll work on it and I'll try to find something new to add to it or change up or make it better somehow. And I'll work on that way. Just every set I try to do something that gets me further long term. But yeah, it came a long way and they all came quick. A lot of my once I started deciding to do stories, it all came pretty quick. Yeah, but the first good story was I still call it the moon bit. I'm sticking with it. I think it was a good story. It was about I just read some conspiracy about the moon not being real. Yeah. They said it was a fake moon, because of all this stuff. And it was all this science that I made sense when I was reading it, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" If this math checks out, this moon is not real. But I was doing it like it was astrophysics. I never passed algebra, and I'm sitting here reading astrophysics. This guy I don't even understand what he's telling me the answers are. I'm reading the answers, and I don't know what he's talking about, but it makes me, for some reason, it's just this adds up right now. And whenever I went on stage to talk about it the first time, I was so passionate leading up to where I was going to tell them the math and explain it to them. But once I had already told them the moon wasn't real a bunch of times, and then I went to explain to them why I'd said that, I was like, man, I can't explain this math. And I just had to tell them that, and they all laughed at it. And I was like, oh, I was just really trying to talk to you about you know what I mean? And that's kind of when that's why I was like, I like that. I like, it's almost like a trip. It tricks me almost too, a lot of times. It doesn't really anymore because I can see it better. But early on, it would still trick me. Even when I started being funny, I didn't really know why. Yeah. And it was fun to learn.
I never thought about that. It's funny, the idea of telling stories and enhancing them in a little bit. And I'll stick with enhancing because lying is awful,
Well, it is lying.
But sure. But it sounds nicer. But enhancing a story to a point where you might have forgotten that some parts of those story were not true. That's really fascinating.
Well, it makes me wonder if it was because of that or because of just memory, how memories work in the first place. Because everybody does that with stories. You'll misremember facts and you'll think you'll remember one thing. I like to think that, at least. I don't think it's a comedy specific thing. But I don't know if y'all have ever heard me do the turtle story about the turtle race. We had a turtle race when I was in 2nd grade. We had to go get turtles from our house for an assignment and bring them to school, and we all raced them. And that was a grade somehow. So
East Texas.
Yeah, it was a big deal. That was a skill we needed to have to make it in life. They told us. But no, I remember
that might come in handy more than dropping and rolling if you're on fire.
Oh, dude, it might. Like, I've never, not yet, but I'm only 30, you know? I mean, there's a lot of time for that situation.
Life's going to depend on, we need a turtle fast.
Sir, we need a fast turtle. Yeah, just the president's in there. Like, I just reach in my back pocket. He's dead. That's been 30 years.
Turtles live a long time.
It's finally our time, shit.
The turtle just broke in half.
I pulled him out of my pocket too quickly.
Yeah, I don't remember what we were talking. What were we talking about? I'm sorry.
Oh, it was
the turtle story.
Yeah, turtle story.
I'll tell that one a lot. And that one, when I first started telling it, and people from back home saw a video of it, they were the people involved. Like, a few of them hit me up on Facebook Messenger, and they're like, "Hey," like one of the moms hit me up of the kids that was involved in the fiasco that happened with me. She hit me up and let me know that I had to like all twisted. She's like, no. It was actually Thomas Dent's turtle who bit, not Irvin's, as you said in the video. And I was just like, all right. And I messaged her back. I was like, LOL, thanks, you know. But like, I wanted to be like, look, lady, it's already in my brain this way, and it's so much harder for me to give credit. You think it's just I could trade names out on the fly and it's gonna work? They're not even the same amount of syllables. Like, it's gonna trip me up, and I'm not gonna do it. So tell him I know, and tell him it's gonna stay this way. But no, it was so funny for that to happen.
So I have a question about like your process, because you are a storyteller, and a lot of your stuff is based in real reality, but you're also working on these little bits and trying to enhance them. What do you script things out, and how much of this is like written down and worked on that way, or you just kind of memorize? The story part is my real life. I'll just go off that memory, or.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's
really?
Very lazy. I feel very lazy all the time. I feel definitely took the easy road on joke writing and getting better, because I do work a lot on my jokes internally. I think about them a lot. I'll run them through my head. Trust me, I've heard my jokes more times than I'd like to admit in one form or another, and I don't like them at all anymore. But I realize what they are. Like once you see something so thoroughly and you know it really well, it almost takes some of the luster off of it, of like the magic, So it is what it is after that. And you're just like, yeah, well, I could, I see how it was made, so it's not that impressive anymore.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I like to think I write, but it's in my head, like you said, and I'll remember stuff. It's almost like when you touch a burner, if it's on, you know what I mean? And you're going to be like, okay, don't touch that thing when it's orange anymore.
Yeah.
Like, that's how it feels like in my stories. When I tell a story and the next time I tell it, I remember what burned me and what did not burn me, what worked. And I'll cut out the parts that burned me, and I'll try to enhance the parts that did burn me. Or didn't. And then just do that like 1,000 times in a row, or however many it takes, you know what I mean? God damn it, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're fine.
How much consistency do you think you have, like, between different shows, like doing the same set?
Oh, like very rarely. You always like this. That's the frustrating, or it was frustrating. Now that like I know that going in, it works better. Like it's like that sweet spot of not gripping a bat too tight or too loose, just kind of right in the middle works the best.
Right.
I try to think about that a lot, because it is a balancing act, but it's never the same 2 times in a row. And it's never the same probably ever, you know what I mean, when you think about it realistically. It's somebody told me one time, they're like, it's the best compliment I've ever gotten for somebody coming up to me after a show and being like, I've heard those before. Like, it's basically what they were saying, but they're like, I like watching it when you do that, though, because it's almost like jazz. It's like a little different every time.
Yeah.
And I like that,
cool,
because it's the coolest way you could describe what I was doing, which was just telling the same joke over.
Yeah, so you'll tell the turtle story like 19 different times. You'll still hit the same beats to make the punchlines happen. But
exactly.
It flourishes.
You're dancing around it in
There's different ways. The deliveries are all different. I might say something. I'll definitely say something different a bunch of times. Like the best, and it's fun for me because I can leave out of that each time and be like, yeah, I told the same joke, but like I worked on that joke. I improved that joke. I found 3 new things in that joke that can tweak and add laughs at 3 new places.
Yeah.
I know this part's kind of like shorter. I know it makes sense now that it's like not working as well, so I'm gonna cut it out finally.
Do you like take some feedback from like watching the crowd and like meter your tempo like in real time kind of thing, or?
Absolutely, you have to read the crowds.
As far as like your jazz freeform style.
Oh, for sure.
You
like,
might go on stage knowing you want to hit a certain way, but then
you have
people
to stay
turn,
within the beats. And if the laughs don't come, luckily the way I talk in my cadence, I'm always kind of, because I'm talky, it helps fill in the gaps. And that's all it is really when something misses, you fill in the gap real quick with a noise. That's what you do. Like, essentially, it could be a word, it could be a noise.
Yeah.
But you fill in the gap and you keep rolling, because they don't know where you're stopping and where laughs are supposed to come. You know where the laughs are supposed to come, but it doesn't mean that they know that. And if you can move on like it wasn't supposed to come and make them think and make them laugh pretty quick, they'll think that that was the laugh, and nobody's the wiser. And you realize that over time that's like you watch good comics go, and that's what they do. They don't get. It looks like they don't get phased when their jokes miss, but that's only because you know that joke was supposed to hit there, and you saw that they didn't. If it didn't phase them, it phased them. They know that it missed.
They're not unscathed.
They're hyper aware of it. Yeah.
So having a persona that's mostly real but not all real, do you find like in that 15-20% of this embellishment a character voice? Like, for example, throwing this out, like if you have a joke that hits but you go, the armor plating says, well, I'm just me, I'm dumb redneck from East Texas kind of thing or whatever. Is that like the character?
Oh yeah, I
takes
totally
over?
hide behind like a little shade of that. I say hide behind it. That's kind of what it is.
Well, is there a certain? Do you have a?
I find like that's what people want to hear. Like when people see me and hear me, their first impression of me is always conjures up images that are more so, but also they're conflicted because of how when people listen to me talk for a while, they're like, he's not smart, but he's not dumb either. You know what I mean? Like he can carry on a conversation.
Yeah.
Well,
So do you
say anything crazy.
Does your character have like a thing? Like, is it a redneck from East Texas or is it that armor plating? Is it?
Yeah, I'll do
voice,
a lot of. I don't do a voice or anything.
Oh no,
I'll
I
just
meant
talk.
a comedic voice.
Oh, comedic voice. Yeah, I'll like I said, like there's times on stage where I set up a lot of it as me being dumb.
Okay.
And just knowing that I was going to be dumb. Like, I've always felt like I was smart. And then I got out of East Texas and realized that I wasn't smart. I was just smart for East Texas, kind of. Right. And really not even that. You know what I mean? Just I thought I was smart for when I was 16. And then after that, it all kind of went to shit. But
do you ever... Oh, go ahead.
No, you're good. I didn't know what I was going to say.
All right. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean...
Like that.
Just make a sound,
Yeah.
Keep them enthralled. Keep them entertained.
That's why podcasts are hard, because it's just, you're supposed to be the one talking, and there's less people. It's almost like stand-up sometimes. Just unprepared stand-up. Just real bad stand-up. No,
do you ever find, like, so when you work on stories and you work on things, have you ever got to a point where you have a thing that's finished and it doesn't fit the character? Like, you get to that point and say, like, maybe this isn't who I am.
Oh, I don't feel like I ever get to a point where it's finished. I don't get close to that with those. But
Okay.
I'll get to that. I'll have those ideas a lot that I'm really like. I'll have ideas that I'm super passionate about, and I'm like, that's fucking funny. That's going to be a 99% of the time joke. Where I could do it 100 times, and 99% is going to be equal crush, no matter what the room. 1% of the time it's not going to work for whatever reason.
Right.
And that's really crazy and hard to find. But if I feel like it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't sink in. Like, and you'll know if once like comedians would know what I was talking about. Like, if the longer you go, the more you build an act. If you do a joke that kind of goes against what your whole character, it's like opposite.
Yeah.
The crowd, it takes away from your believability to the crowd and your credibility. And it just like if you're not like if I'm nice all the time, which I am, kind of like I'm non-confrontational. If like one of my jokes was me like yelling at a crowd member in some funny way, but aggressively. Like the rest of my jokes, if I throw that in the middle, it's not going to work the rest of the second half time. If I have to go right back to like, oh, anyway, so, you know, like.
Sure.
So you got to keep that in mind. But I think that's why a lot of people don't do it. But a lot of times you'll think of a really funny joke and it's like you'll realize in your head, be like, oh, man, I'm writing that's so-and-so's joke, really, in my head. Like you'll be like immediately just be like, I'm going to tell so-and-so, hey, I thought of this joke. And this is like, this should be your joke, and I'm sorry for it coming up in my brain. This is all you.
You can sell those
if you want it.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Maybe, probably not right now. I don't think that's the. I just need to like get funnier and be out more and do all that stuff. I feel like that's where just work harder at this point. And
Do you travel?
I do. I've been traveling. I put my head into traveling more this second half of this year going forward. Went to Nashville. Just got back from Nashville, actually.
Cool.
A few days ago. I went to open for Nate Bargatze, which is my favorite comic. You should check him out if you haven't. He's super hilarious. But yeah, it was real fun. It was like a sold-out show at Zany's Nashville. Had a lot of fun. Then I went down to Destin and didn't do a show. Just fucking went to the ocean and got drunk. And then came back here. And I got back yesterday. But I do Zany's in Nashville a lot and New Orleans. I'll do some shows there. Huntsville, Alabama, like the Southeast. I'm kind of really wanting to go make the big jumps, but I'm trying to still tighten everything up and save it. Once I feel like I waited this long, I should wait a little bit longer and build it up. Build up the not suspense. Nobody's fucking waiting on me, but you know what I mean. But me,
just but you, yeah.
But I know when I get there, it's going to be good. Even if I went to New York or LA and started making the rounds, it would make an impact now. But I want it to make a big impact as opposed to just another impact of another good comic moving to the city.
Well, nothing else. If you're able to travel and you're successful at it, you build a bigger audience, wider audience. So if you ever do get to a point where you're going to jump to LA or New York or something like I'm not just the guy from Austin. I'm the guy who did all this stuff over here. I have 20,000 followers, two.
Yeah,
You can always go back to San Marcos too.
Yeah.
I was thinking about it actually. If this all goes south, we're gonna build a river hut out of sticks. Tell jokes to the beavers. They even have beavers in San Marcos? Probably not.
There's probably one.
Oh man, dude,
than
they have
zero.
some badass beavers back home. I didn't even think we had beavers till recently. I went my whole life not knowing we had beavers, and I was so disappointed. We didn't have a creek or a river, I guess, is what it was. But yeah, man.
Nothing to dam.
Oh, I saw it. Sorry to go. Oh wait, no, this isn't the drunk. We'll save that for later. I was going to tell you about an article I saw about a platypus kid. He was turning himself into a platypus through piercings, and he didn't make himself look like a platypus, which was rough because I was really excited for him. I wanted to see that. That's also my favorite animal. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you find yourself having to go out and do more things, experience more, so you can have more stories?
I do, and that's what I tell myself to keep myself from being like, I haven't been out a lot, I'm being lazy, I'm being a bad comic. I just be like, no, you got to live life to get, stuff to talk about. Yeah, that's what people will say to me, at least. I've never really looked at it that way. I've just always kind of rode my emotional gut. You know what I mean? Like, and kind of like whatever I don't push myself too hard. Like, I push myself plenty hard, like all the time. So I've learned to like really not stress too much. And when I find myself stressing on comedy, I let myself stress on comedy really hard. Yeah. And I just get super intense about it. And then when I'm done, and I put it down, and I just like try to enjoy my life. And that tends to work out. Because if I'm not enjoying my life, I won't be receptive if the funny ideas come anyways. Right. They'll come, but like I won't try to think immediately like that should be used to get my life better. I'll just be like, that's funny. So the half the key is just keeping myself motivated mentally. But yeah, I don't really have to go out a lot, thank God, because I don't have to try as many new jokes to get the quicker. You know what I mean? Once I get one, because all I have to do is hit one story, and I'll go run it. And it takes time to figure out how much time it's actually going to be. But usually they all start off around 5 to 7, 8 minutes. Some of them 10, and they all can stretch because they're stories. You can talk, fill in a lot of parts. Yeah. So and they're fun and easy to work with. Yeah, I don't remember what we were talking about. I smoked. I shouldn't have smoked before I came. I knew that was going to be a problem. I think it's smoke.
I like that you'll say that on a recording, but you won't talk about your first jokes or.
I don't remember. I really don't remember a lot of my first jokes. There's like a couple of them I probably could if I sat down and tried to think, but I burned those books, man. Yeah. That was back when I tried to write. When I first started, I was like, okay, you have to buy a notebook, right, and do this. Yeah. But that's what you realize once you. Well, if you ever realize it, is that because a lot of people don't, but there's no cookie cutter scientific way to graduate from comedy. Like, there's no way to get funny. Like, once you get funny, you're funny and you figured it out. Yeah. But until then, there's like really not a lot of ways other than go do open mics a bunch, and you'll either get it or you won't. But yeah.
We're going to take our first or really only break for the show. We need to order some food as well. But here's a question for you to consider before we come back. What is something in comedy right now you want to die? Something that's overplayed or something that needs to be played out. And
I'm done with the political stuff. Oh, sorry.
Well, I mean, that answered the question.
Yeah. So let's not talk about it.
All right, cool. Okay. Let's take a first break and we'll only break, and we'll be back.
Invite me, even if I'm not on the show. I want to eat some of those tacos and orange juice again. That was awesome. I dream about that.
Welcome back to the show. Segment 2 of Comedy Happy Hour. I'm still hanging out here with Dylan, of course, and Hensley. So you already answered the question of what you think should die, political jokes.
Yeah.
Now, is it
for a little bit.
Politics in general, or just?
I just feel like it's I don't know. It's not like hurt. I don't know. So I've heard some people say it like hurts comedy. I don't know if anything really hurts comedy. I think it's life is life, and it's always going to be the same. Yeah. But I definitely feel rooms get the energy sucked out of them when people talk about politics, one way or the other. A lot of it's, I just feel like it's super obvious, and it's not. It's like everybody kind of knows it's ridiculous, and I don't know what the right way to handle it is. That's why I say like, don't listen to me when I say it should die. I don't think it should die. But I definitely. I am more enjoy I used to I love Bill Hicks. I love watching Bill Hicks now. I learned the other day I could still rewatch him and it still just isn't moving and enjoyable to me.
Yeah.
But if I see
Moving
somebody
is a big
doing
word.
great political stuff now, it's not as exciting to me as and I feel like the crowds kind of find it like it's got to be really, 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 really well done. And most comics don't do comedy really, 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 really well. It's super hard to get that.
Yeah,
going.
I was going
It's
to
like
guess
opening
just
monologues and
a-
late night.
as a audience member, especially since right now the political climate is weird and stupid, they might enjoy a refreshing, not hour of stand up, not talking about the crap that's insane outside the world. Just
I think so.
funny time in here. It's safe place.
It feels that way to me. That's why it really does feel like it. And I feel like the people that do get to talk about politics and it's funny and people like them, they don't really talk about politics. They talk about, they touch on it, but it's not really diving into it. It's not trying to prove a point.
Yeah.
It's more just acknowledging it and making a joke off of whatever. But the people, nobody wants to see a comedian with an agenda. I don't feel like that's the atmosphere I feel like we're in is like, you're right. I feel like we're here to distract, not necessarily. Like people are acting like it's our job to draw attention, and everybody is oblivious to what's going on right now, like they were in the early '90s. They're not. Like people are hyper aware of everything that's going on right now, and nobody wants to fucking be drowned out by that shit at a comedy show.
Right.
They want to drink and hear about how you're dumb. Like,
Yeah. Give us dick jokes.
Yeah.
Give us anything.
and
I
it's really
feel
not even
nothing.
dick jokes. I feel like the crowds are getting better. Like they're smart and they want to hear original stuff. That's what kills me about like why I say like if there's really great comics out there right now that really should just talk about stuff that's not. Stop trying to change the world and start changing the world by not trying as hard. You know what I mean? Like I feel like you could do more by trying, just changing your name. Talk about stuff that if that's what's important to you and you want to talk about it, talk about it. At the end of the day. But I feel like a lot of times you need to check yourself and be like, what are you really doing this for?
No,
Like, what do you really want to say when you die? What do you want to be known for having said?
Right.
It's an interesting
Trump
perspective on how to approach that topic. Because the past couple of years, we've seen people like Jon Stewart or whatever, for example, like and a shift of comedians are really telling the real stories. They're telling the truth. They're using humor to make funnies, but they're more trustworthy than news people are.
Right.
Like that's not your job. You're a comedian. Like just I want to be dumb on stage.
Yeah. Escapism is a big thing too.
Yeah.
It definitely led to, like, I can't deny that that's the way comedy was. And like I said, when I got into comedy, it was because of that kind of comedy. And I wanted to be that kind of comic that got up there and, like, made a difference in politics.
Of
and
course.
Made a difference
Yeah.
and solved the problem of religion, yada, yada. All that stuff, I wanted to tackle it. And then I realized that the people don't want that. People have been trying to tackle that for years, and it's not going to be tackled anytime soon, if ever. And it's just
Especially with the divide we have now.
I'd rather just. It's more fun to me to hear a crowd laugh really hard than it is for me to change religion or politics or people's minds about it. I'd rather make a crowd laugh really, really hard, even about something else. Like it's just easier to make it funny about something else to me.
Yeah.
And call it a cop out or whatever. Maybe that's. I really don't care.
No, I think it's a cop out at all. I think it's. It's well reasoned.
No, I think it's exceptionally well reasoned.
Yeah.
Besides, I kind of I realized. Since I don't vote, I need to double down on the whole like not talking about. Like I don't agree with the opinion that like if you don't vote, you don't get an opinion. I think that's bullshit. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? Let's try that. Like I would love to not have an opinion for a while about this. So if y'all ask me, I'll be like, I don't care. And then instead of just like trying to, because it's hard not to form an opinion when you read the news one way or the other. Like if you're a human being and you read the news at all, or you just one headline, you're like, oh, it's like you're gonna slant a certain way. They're all kind of built to make you feel a certain way, and I hate being manipulated. I feel manipulated all the time with politics. So I just try not to play.
I think that's a.
I'll let y'all play. Y'all are doing a great job. I think. Well, kind of. Like everybody's doing it. We need to do better, but like I'm not. Like I said, I'm not. It's not my job now to say. I think y'all are doing fine.
Adam, what she say it was called? The J shot. Okay. We got shots in front of us.
It's a mystery drink.
Mystery drink. It's the J shot, and we'll see what this is about. This is for Jesse.
Oh, that's refreshing.
It's mostly just pineapple juice.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah.
I love pineapple juice.
Me too, man.
I used to go to, because Shreveport, Louisiana was an hour away from where I grew up, and they had the boats, which were the casinos and stuff there. And I would drive once I hit 18, and I could go, because it was 18, I believe. Yeah. I could drive over there and play in the casinos. I would go, and we would do like horse races and stuff. Oh, that was so fun. Oh, you couldn't gamble till you're 21, but you could get into the casino at 18, I think.
Right.
Or something. The horse tracks. I went to the horse tracks for like 3 years. Just I would go drive an hour and play like $20 because they have like the automated, computers that you can go put bets in.
Yeah.
Spit out your vouchers.
Yeah.
And those don't ask for your ID. I don't know why. Like the whole time I was like, man, casinos are dumb. Right? But no, it was fun. I'd lose a lot of money. I loved gambling and stuff, but Shreveport was real fun to go to. I don't even remember why I started talking about this. That J shot was really good.
Pineapple juice.
Pineapple, man.
Oh yeah, but I would drink pineapple juice. My friends would make fun of me because at the casinos they would give you between 18 and 21. They'd be like, "What do you want to drink?" And I'd always be sketched out. So I'd just be like pineapple juice, and I would drink pineapple juice at casinos. And I loved it. I still love it. It's weird though if you see somebody drinking just pineapple juice, but I don't think you know. If you look at somebody and they're holding pineapple juice, do you know automatically?
Without a can, sure. Yeah.
Not out of a can. Yeah, I didn't just like walk around with cans of pineapple juice, pulling them out of my pockets.
What are you drinking?
Because they'll get you anything you want at a casino. Like they're like fully stocked. And they will get you whatever kind of juice you want. And you'll be like, you have agave nectar? And they'll be like, yeah, hold on.
I got you, fam. We can actually wrap this up. I have to ask you what you want to ask the next person. I can't tell you who it is.
If you could quit comedy today, would you, and how?
Good question.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us and tolerating your voice.
Absolutely.
I thought I've been having a good time. So
I've been having fun. Yeah.
Where can we find you online?
See, I don't really have a web page that I like to send people to. I would just say you can look for my videos. I have a few up on YouTube. Just search for my name, Jesse Hensley, or just find me on Twitter at Jesse Wayne. It's like ATJESSEWAYNE. Or that's pretty much it. Just Google that, or just Google my name, and you can. It'll link to everything.
Yeah,
usually
Austin Twitter usually just
Austin. Yeah,
Google Jesse Hensley.
It's I don't know. The Jesse Wayne thing was when I first started, and it wasn't even like a reference to stand up. It was a character I was doing for CJ Morgan on the radio. But yeah, so now I'm stuck with at Jesse Wayne.
Wait, what was this character you did on the radio?
It was just like a Austin Parks reporter, and I would give reports about Austin Parks, even though I'd never been to any because it was when I first moved to Austin. So it was all just talking about hiking trails and stuff, what I assumed they were. But it was pretty funny. We did it on KLBJ for a while, and I got away with a bunch of shit, saying a bunch of shit I didn't think I could say. But it was fun. But yeah, I'm stuck with that moniker now. And it's even more shitty because Monty Wayne, I don't know if you know the comic Monty Wayne, he passed away a couple years ago, and now every time I think of that, that Twitter handle or anything, it's just reminds me of Monty Wayne. But yeah, I don't know. Can you change a Twitter handle?
No.
Fuck.
I don't think so. Yeah,
you just have to get a new one.
Yeah, whatever.
Start over? No.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I'll just retire from comedy. Sorry.
If you could quit comedy,
and how? Yeah.
I would do it I would definitely delete my Twitter. I would delete everything except for one video, but I would change that video and I would record an introduction that was really creepy and sad. And people would just be it would be in their heads. I just want them to think about me. I don't care if it's remember that creepy video when Jesse left?
Yeah.
Just want them to remember me. People don't forget creepy things.
No, yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
How's that a problem?
Yeah. So again, thank you for coming to hang out with us.
I appreciate it.
Dylan, anything that you want to say before any other questions?
No, thanks.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you like this show, you want to know more about the show, you go to comedyhappyhour.com for all of the episodes. We don't have a lot up there, but they've all been, I think, really, really fun.
More on the way.
More on the way, of course. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and really everywhere at Comedy Happy Hour. Lucky we were able to
we
get
got lucky with that.
You can questions at Comedy Happy Hour. You can also send a phone call, voicemail, or text to 802-359-7468. You can also go to contentpending.com. It's the big network of the podcasts that we were producing. You can find other things that we're doing, and newsletters and stuff I'm sure are going to be coming pretty soon.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the main show, which is Drunk Ass Live, drunkasslive.com, where you can find more from Jesse. And that's it. And we love you so much. And, podcast responsibly.
Still selling only the finest of seized whiskeys.